Have you ever realized that it is human nature within us to be always in pursuit of wealth? Sometimes the things we chase can no always be worth all that sacrifice in the end. My dear viewers, stay tuned till the end of the video and I promise you your perspective of things will change. Let's begin. A young man asked his mother one day, "Mom, why are we so poor?" She looked at her only child and replied sadly, "Because you were born, my son. If you weren't born, maybe I would have been able to save up enough money for us to have a better life." The boy felt bad and asked her, "What do you mean?" So she told him about how she had to take loans from money lenders when she was expecting him, and how those interest rates ate away at their savings. He hugged her and said, "Don't worry, Mom. I'll make sure we never have to worry about money again. Just wait and see." With that, the young lad left the village to try his luck in the big city. Now, let me tell you, he wasn't the smartest kid, but his heart was pure. He worked long and hard for every penny he earned, hoping one day soon he could go back to his village and show his mom how much money he'd made. It's been 5 years since our young friend left his village. During these 5 years he didn't send any money to his mom, but he did write her many letters telling her about how much he missed her and how one day he'll come back and give her a life she deserves. But the old lady received none of those letters. Why? Because she died 2 years ago due to an illness, and all this time her son was working hard in the city, trying to make something of himself. One day, he came across a job that paid well and he took it instantly. For the next 3 years, he saved every single cent he made, dreaming of the day he'll go back home. Finally, the day arrived when he had saved enough money to change his life and his mother's life. He left that very day and started his journey towards his village. He was excited to finally go back home, thinking about how happy his mother would be to see him after so many years. He imagined her opening the door and hugging him tightly while tears of joy streamed down her face. But his dreams were shattered the moment he entered his village. He noticed that most of the houses were abandoned. There were no young faces or joyous laughter echoing in the streets. It seemed as if everyone had left the village and no one was coming back. Puzzled, he walked towards the village elder's house to ask him some questions. But what he heard next broke his heart into pieces. "Oh, so you're the young lad, Rajiv's son, right?" "Yeah." "Sorry to disappoint you, but your mother isn't alive. She died 3 years ago." Our protagonist couldn't believe his ears. He rushed to the cemetery without wasting a moment. There, engraved in stone, was the name of his father and his mother. But it was his mother's grave that he focused on. He knelt beside it and read the words inscribed on it. "I waited," it said. Tears welled up in his eyes as he realized that he was too late. All those years he spent working hard in the city, trying to earn enough money to give his mother a better life, but it was all in vain. She had waited for him for so long, but in the end, she gave up waiting for him to return. He screamed in anguish, collapsing on the ground. Gold coins scattered around him as his sack of riches spilled across the dirt. People gathered around, staring at the distraught man. Some approached him cautiously, asking what had happened, but he didn't bother answering them. He just kept wailing, "I traded time for treasure and lost her." Seeing his misery, the villagers felt sympathy for him. They offered him water and comforted him, but nothing could ease the pain in his heart. That day, no one saw him leave the cemetery. Next morning, he was seen approaching a group of men who were working on a construction site. He talked to them for a bit and then asked them to show him where they bought their supplies. "I want to buy materials to build a large and beautiful tomb over there." The men exchanged glances, wondering about the sudden interest of the rich newcomer in building a tomb. Nonetheless, they led him to the supply store. He purchased materials worth thousands of rupees and asked them to deliver it to the cemetery. Soon, a large crowd had gathered at the cemetery, watching in amazement as workers unloaded materials to build an exquisite tombstone. Moreover, they noticed that he also ordered for flowers to be planted all round the grave. As days passed, the magnificent tombstone was completed, and it became the most beautiful monument in the cemetery. But our protagonist wasn't done yet. He turned his attention to the rest of the village. He repaired the roads, renovated the houses, built a school, and even opened a small clinic. Within a few months, the entire village was transformed into a thriving community. People couldn't understand what had changed so rapidly, but they were grateful nonetheless. After he finished everything, he organized a huge ceremony and invited everyone from nearby villages, standing in front of them. He announced, "Today, this village has been restored to its former glory, all in the loving memory of my mother, Shanti Devi." Everyone was deeply moved by his words. They clapped and cheered, appreciating his dedication and love for his mother. But he knew that deep down, no matter how much money he spent on building schools, clinics, and beautiful monuments, it wouldn't bring his mother back. At night, when he visited her grave, he poured his heart out to her, confessing all his mistakes. He told her about how he hadn't written to her all those years and how he was too late to see her one last time. As the years went by, he grew old, but his love for his mother never faded. In fact, it grew stronger with each passing day. You might think that our protagonist wasted all his fortune on a grave, but let me tell you, he didn't waste a single penny. Even though he lost his mother, his love for her now sheltered hundreds of families under one roof. He built a home for the villagers in his mother's name, and it stood as a testament to their unbreakable bond. He used to tell the children about his mother and how much they should value their parents. He wanted them to know that no amount of money in the world could compensate for the loss of family. So what did our protagonist learn from this experience? Well, he learned that chasing a future can be blinding. While planning for the future is important, it shouldn't come at the cost of ignoring the present. He realized that instead of focusing on making a better future, he should have cherished the time he spent with his mother. He could have made her happy by visiting her more often instead of working tirelessly in the city. We don't know how much money he spent building schools and clinics and renovating houses, but what we do know is that he dedicated the rest of his life to making his mother proud. He didn't let the pain of losing her consume him, but rather channeled it into doing good deeds. So remember, friends, no matter how hard you work or how much money you earn, nothing is more important than family. Cherish the time you spend with them and make the most of every moment, because you never know when it'll be your last. And that's all for today's story, friends. We hope you enjoyed it. Now we'd like to ask you guys a question. What other lesson did you learn from this story? Tell us in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to World of Wonder Stories for more fun stories like this. Thanks for listening and see you next time.